Welcome to this Circle of Resilience, and today's session is with Jolanda Cedars. Hi, welcome. But as always, we first start with grounding, settling into ourselves. So take your time to rub your hands warm. I know I already feel a little warm, so I'm not gonna do it really fast, just creating a little bit of energy between my hands. And then using that energy to put it wherever you want on your body. And go through all the places, your shoulders, maybe your belly, your heart. And by doing so, we create a little bit of attention in our bodies, a little bit of presence. And welcoming ourselves in this moment. And see if you can feel the love that you put on your body through your hands. And by touching the parts that need some attention, or maybe just any part, you can feel that this love is coming out of your hands into all of your body. And when you're done or ready, you can rest your hands on a place that feels safe and comfortable. So maybe you want to put one hand on your heart and the other on your womb space, your belly. And then we take 3 conscious breaths together. And at the first inhale, you can gather all thoughts and feelings or whatever is coming up right now that is pulling you back into the past. It can be anything that happened before you started this session, or maybe from way before, but anything that's keeping you in the past. And on your exhale, you can slowly let it go. Maybe you want to make a little sound, like a good sigh, to let it go. And then on your next inhale, you can gather every thought and feeling that is pulling you into the future. Anything that you still want to do, that you don't want to forget. Anything, maybe your dreams. And know that you can always come back to this, but for now, on your exhale, you can slowly let it go. And our third breath together, you can gather anything that you no longer need in this moment. And on your exhale, you let that go and welcome yourself into this moment. Being fully present in your body, in the space you are in right now. And once you feel centered, you can slowly open your eyes, let the light and the world back in. And then we get our candles. To bring in some light. And I want to light it for this conversation for Jolanda and me. Anyone who's watching. And to anyone around the world who needs to be reminded of their own light. Yeah, and everyone who in one way or another is trying to connect to that. Is there anything or anyone you want to add to the candle?
Well, I really like what you said. Anyone who is included in the circle, meaning either talking or just watching the videos, one of the videos. And I really like the image of there being a big circle. Like the last one was a circle in Holland, like in the Dutch speaking part. And now the circle has grown to being a worldwide circle. And I really like the image of like a circle spanning the world with all women gathering and connecting to their light. I really like that image. So yes, my candle is for that as well.
Yeah, I love that image as well. And I guess that's also a good image to put into words how we know each other. Because I think maybe the second time we met, I'm not sure, we met on a women's festival. And to me, that's a place where we practice this. We come together, we share our gifts, we make the world a lighter, better place. We remind each other of the beauty in ourselves. And that's how we met. And that's what I know you've been doing also with the Geluksroute, which is a Dutch project that Marika started, but also you and I and many, many other people around the Netherlands have joined. So I guess that image of connecting and giving your gifts to the world is what you do and what we have in common. But for anyone who doesn't know you yet, it might be nice to know a little bit more about you. So would you like to give them a little peek into who you are and what you do?
It's always an interesting question. So the question is not so much as, it's nice if you're not saying, who are you? Since that's like a question I don't know how to answer still. But a little peek into who I am is, well, thinking about this is my, I've been doing my whole life. I've been asking myself questions as in, who am I and why am I here? And a lot of the times, what the hell am I doing here? I mean, that's like a big question that comes up every now and then. So questioning myself as to who am I and who do I want to be is a big part of my life, and at this moment it could be also a big part of my work. So I offer retreats and workshops, and I work with entrepreneurs about these questions. And with entrepreneurs, it's a very interesting process because a lot of them who are starting, they do this from their passion or from something they know well, but they tend to forget that they bring themselves into the business as well. So I'm asking them, who are you as an entrepreneur? And what do you bring with you? And those are incredible, fascinating, and rewarding and enriching conversations to have. So I create a space where people are invited to think about this and to show themselves and to express themselves in many ways. And one of the ways I do this is with creativity, because I've been in education for like 25 years, and I've worked with children with special needs a lot, and I recognized very soon that our educational system is very mentally, very verbal based. But there are a lot of kids who learn in a different way. So, for instance, my first, I'm very verbal as well. I like to work with words and language, but I'm also very visual oriented. So if you learn in that way, you need images. You need to draw things in order to um, learn and get the knowledge inside of you. I don't know any other words to put it. So I really believe that picturing and imaging things and expressing yourself through image and colors and symbols is a very important addition to language. It's another language, but it's a very good addition to words. And it's a great way of your subconscious to express itself. Because we are so tuned into words that our subconscious, if it says something, we're starting to analyze at the same moment. And with images and drawings and something that you make even, so not only drawing, but also making something, is much more intuitive. So I really like to tap into that as well.
Nice. It sounds like a really good blend of, but maybe the best of both worlds, and using both worlds, so the verbal world and the more visual world, to combine them and get the answers to those big questions that you ask yourself and others.
Yeah.
And I know for a lot of us, not only working as an entrepreneur, but also like going through life, it's this journey of self-discovery, learning things about yourself, about your subconscious, about any kind of insight that helps you to take a next step. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you've, well, maybe by asking yourself all these difficult questions, by exploring, I know you've made some really cool drawings, mandalas, really cool. I think it's only Dutch, right? Your card deck.
Yeah.
I know you create a lot of stuff. Sounds not a nice word, but you create a lot of beautiful things by doing this work. So can you, tell us a little bit more about that journey?
Well, I want to add to the best of both worlds. As when I was exploring this, these other ways of learning, I had also some kids in my class that really needed to be physical. So they needed to feel the letters and the words in order to be able to learn them. So I think there's like the whole range of, also the physical realm is a very important place. Like that's where you experience emotions, and where your body is also a big signal, signaler sign. I don't know how to say it, but for me, I mean, everyone has its own personal preference in how you digest information, to say it that way. So my journey, well, I think I've been asking questions since I was like, I could speak. And I've been reading a lot. So that's where the verbal, you know, the magic of words already came to me. And it was very clear to me that I could disappear in stories. I would read books like all the time. So words are very powerful. I mean, and that's like a really, like almost a very chewed on sentence. But words really do have power. You bring something into the world when you speak it out loud. So I was a very curious kid, but I was a very silent kid. So I was very shy. You probably can't imagine. I was a very shy child, shy girl on elementary school, and I was just observing. I was, watching what's going on, and then asking myself, and then asking my mother, and so this carried on until I was in my early 20s, I guess. Only when I started working, and I started working in education, I became more aware of myself. So then I started asking questions about me. Okay, so why am I reacting this way? What is happening? At first, I wanted to go to the university and study psychology, but I tried 1 year, not my thing, way too theoretical for me, but it sparked my interest. But what really got me, made me aware of the importance of getting to know yourself, getting to know myself, was when I got into, well, maybe, I don't know what, burnt out is like the severe version of that. In my late 20s, and I was totally lost. It was a period when my ex-husband, we were trying to have kids and it didn't work, and I found out that I couldn't have kids, and my whole perspective of the future, my whole plan just fell apart. And I came to a really dark place where I always have had like a low self-esteem, but this really sparked all that darkness, and I was like, who am I going to be if I'm not going to be a mother? And then when I couldn't work because I just couldn't cope with everything, it's like, and now I'm not a teacher anymore. Who am I going to be? There's nothing left of me. So that really shook me, and really, I had to dive into myself and find out who I was and what was important to me, and what could I so it started with finding what I liked to do, what made me happy. That was like quite a search at that point. And then, okay, what am I good at? So that's another layer. And then, what is important to me? And then I started working again, and as things go, it goes to the background because everything's fine again, and going through life and yada yada yada. But then someone introduced me to NLP. It's like a coaching
neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah. And I was amazed because that's very verbal. So that really caught my attention. But I took the course at an institute that was combining it with spirituality. So that made it like I got to sense more, I got to feel more. That's where I learned the connection with my body more. So this opened up like whole new territory to explore. And in between those things, my creativity, you know, me making things, creating, drawing. I know there's not an English word for knutselen, right?
Oh,
There's
good
no English
question.
word. Arts and
Crafting?
crafts. Yeah,
Yeah.
arts and crafts is like that. It was always there. I've always been doing that. Um, and when I became an entrepreneur 4 years ago, I decided I really wanted to combine those things. So that's when I started giving workshops and inviting people to, especially when you think you're not creative, to do it, because it doesn't have to be pretty. The way you express it's like singing, you know, not everyone has a great voice, but it's a way of expressing, and that is beautiful in itself. So that's what I want to invite people to find. And I also like to use collage, because then you can use pictures from someone else. I'm not a good I can draw really well. I mean, it's like I can draw people or animals, because, you know, that's where my critic and my perfectionism comes by. But even that doesn't matter. You know, if I want to, if I feel that I want to picture something, or an image comes to me and I want to put it into the world, it doesn't matter if it looks right or not. It just has to be there. So that's what I think that's magic. So one of the archetypes of my business is the magician, because it's really magic when you have, like, you think of something and then you write it down or you draw it, and then it's real. So things that go from an idea to something that you can touch or you can see or you can hear, that's magic. That's making something out of nothing. So that's I really like that process. Yeah. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
Okay. I'm just going on. I'm like, what was the question again? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly as you said. You know, I just ask you a question out of my own curiosity, and then it triggers something in you, and there comes this whole story of your life, your journey, your insights, and gluing it all together to one web of words that is magic. That is, yeah, putting it into form and matter and sound.
So we are all magicians. Because as soon as I mean, imagine that you are complimenting someone, and not like, oh, you're doing great, but if you really, you know, acknowledge someone, as soon as you speak those words, the other person starts to feel something. You know, something is alight and alive. That is magic. So even speaking words is magical, and we all have that in us.
Yes, we do, and we do it maybe even unconsciously. I mean, you know, not being aware of that you do it. Yeah. Another thing that sparked some kind of curiosity in me is the part that it sounds like you really, and I think a lot of us resonate or recognize that we kind of hit rock bottom, or maybe not always rock bottom, but you have to have some kind of darkness and giving up almost. I'm not sure if that's the right words, to kind of make space for something new, or to become aware of, oh, so I do want to ask myself these questions. I do want to explore more, or whoa, there's this whole other realm of my body that I didn't even know was there all the time. So linking to resilience, one of the kind of interpretations I like to use is that it's resilience to me is where both the hard parts or the dark parts or the stuff we usually don't like to look at meet the beautiful, magical, joyful parts, and where they, I'm not sure if it's where they meet, but where they're both invited into your life, the moment, make it as big or small as you want. That's where you can start to be resilient, because you do no longer resist what's there, but kind of take it in. And I believe that's what I hear in your story. You kind of take it in, explore it, use it, and then create something new out of it. I think that's what I hear.
Well, for me, if I would use another word for resilience, for me it would be flexibility. So it's like you have these toys that have a big round bottom, and then if you go this, they do that automatically. You don't, it's just that's how they are. So when I was in that dark place in my late 20s, I didn't feel resilient at all. It's everything was, I was like this in my bed. I didn't see anyone for I think maybe 6 weeks. So that was not a place I would like to go back to. So the resilience was for me when I realized, and I could see myself sitting on a bench on a dike near the place where I was living. And I just realized, but I have to make the first step. I have to take the first step out of here. I have to make a move. I have to move in one way or another. And that's where I found resilience. And I think when you have experienced that once, you can always go back to that moment. So I've been I've had my share of heartache and trauma. I don't have any real trauma, but having experienced that moment of realizing I have to move, so I have to do something, and it is a conscious decision to do that. Then I can make a change. I can start walking, or I can start asking, I can start reaching out. And for me, that realization, that's resilience for me. And the lighter parts came way after. Yeah. But it's everyone goes through one or more of those moments.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes I have realized, because as soon as I found myself just crying, you probably recognize such a moment where you start crying and you can no longer, like, what? I just knew I had to reach out because I was going in circles in my head. So I needed someone else to, stick a hand in and invite me out. So I've had help every time I was in such a place. And that's also a very big lesson, that you need to reach out. Asking for help is one in that course that I did. One of the statements that really hit me was, the first step in your spiritual development is learning how to ask for help. So that was Yeah, I really believe that. Because we're social beings and we need each other. So yes, resilience is in me, but it's also it's for me, it's in the movement. It's in the realizing that I need to consciously do something. And what that step needs to be, that's the big question. And I believe that when I am more aware what is important to me, so what my core values are, it's easier to make such a decision. So if connection is a big value, then it's easier for me to reach out and ask. So knowing what is important and what is the base of my life, that's why I think everyone needs to know themselves more.
The image of the doll or thing that's doing this comes up again, because it does this because it's anchored, you know, at the base there's some weight that keeps it in place and not letting it hop all over the place, but only doing, like, you can go all sideways, but there's still an anchor. So listening to you, I feel that yes, you can life will do this to you one time or every week or every day, in big and smaller steps, but having that base and knowing, so what are my core values, helps you to answer not only the question, but also making it into a movement. How do I want to take this step? And I love how you kind of pull out the both sides, that knowing that you're the only one who can take the step is not the same as having to do it all alone.
Yeah.
So even though it's about your answer and your movement or your answer to what life is throwing at you or showing you, that's your answer to give and your movement to make, but doesn't mean you have to do it alone.
It's not a shame in crying on your best friend's shoulder every once in a while, or asking someone to just listen, which is quite hard, to be honest, but yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so we've kind of explored your journey, how you've managed to manage. I'm not sure if managing is the right word, but
I think to be upright again.
Yeah, and how you've learned to acknowledge yourself, acknowledge that you have these questions, that you want to answer them, that you can ask for help, that it's about finding your center or your the place where you can ground. And we know creativity is a way for you to maybe express, like you said at the beginning, it's a way to express it or to come to that answer or insight.
Yeah, it's like, for me, so self-reflection as a way of getting to know myself, and creativity, and there was a third one. Do you remember the third one?
Yeah, like being open to learning, you mean?
Oh yeah. But that's there was open to learning, creativity, and the third one,
being aware or awareness.
Yeah, awareness. Yeah, awareness. Those three are like, they're an equal triangle, and I can come in from every angle. So I can have the urge to make something or to draw something, and then it's like, oh, this is what is happening right now. Or I can have like an insight something comes to you like, oh, I need to picture this, or I need to draw about this, or write about this. Or I want to explore something. And then I can use my creativity and insights, or like a course or whatever from someone else to explore this. I find it a really powerful triangle to work with.
Okay, I'm really curious today. Can you tell me how you, because I know we will do something with your creativity later, but can you tell me and us, anyone who's listening, about the other two? How do you practice awareness and being open to learning? And I understand that they might not be, they are triangles, so they are connected. So maybe it's not one or the other, but can you tell us a little bit more of how you put that into practice?
Well, awareness for me is really learning to listen to myself. My card deck is called, it's hard to translate because in Dutch there's like a word, eigen wijsheid, which means your own wisdom, but it also means pigheadedness, or, it's like we all have our own wisdom. It's in our bodies, it's in our soul, it's in our womb, it's in our connection with source. But being able to hear that or sense it or see it, I need to be, I call it, drawing all my strings, my energy strings back in. To really go inward and be silent and be like with all my senses really high, like on edge. No, not on edge. Really
Sharp,
sensitive,
sensitive.
but focused inward.
Mm.
So that I can feel what my body, which part of me is saying something. And for me, that was like a very, very soft whisper in the beginning. And when I allow myself to see inward, what colors and what images do I see? And being silent with myself and taking time to pull my senses inward. That's for me the way to practice awareness. Because there's so much noise outside. I need to. It doesn't mean it has to be silent all the time. I can listen to music and then, okay, what is this music doing in myself? So that's awareness for me. And then being open to learn. The key thing there is curiosity. If I find something a bit scary, then going to my curiosity helps, because then I'm exploring again. Being scared of something closes me off, and being curious opens things. So when I'm doing a course in creativity, and then the people who attend like, oh, I can never do this, and I don't want to try, I'm scared to put it out in the world. I'm like, see if you can find yourself to be curious what is happening then. So be curious about what people will say, instead of, oh, they're gonna reject it, or they're gonna, so being curious is the key to staying open to learn. And also the knowledge that nothing is done. Nothing is ever finished. At least myself and my knowing of myself. It's an ongoing process until my last breath, I think.
Mm. Well, there's so many things coming up right now. I see this image of your curiosity and your fear almost hand in hand, like,
Yeah.
because there's not only the fear but also the curiosity. It's like they gives you the freedom, or if I think about it of how I do this myself, it gives me the freedom to take that step, you know, or make
Yeah.
the art, or yeah, whatever you are trying to do. um yeah, so it's both of them. It's not only one or the other, it's both of them helping you to, yeah, create, learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fear is like fear has an important message, and it might be something you have feared in the past, and it's still there, but not, it's not, it doesn't need to be there anymore. It's not necessary anymore to be afraid of something from your past, but it still has a message. So I don't want to push it aside, because that's only going to suppress it, and it's going to fight harder to be there. So hearing what fear has to say, I think it's very important to acknowledging it. So when I'm scared to speak my mind, because, well, you're going to be judged and you're going to be put aside, and okay, I hear what you're saying, but I need to do this. I need to express myself, because this value is being hurt, or I don't know how to translate it well.
Yeah, it wants to express itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, going hand in hand. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can also hear that it's already linked again to being aware, because by acknowledging, you first have to feel what it does to you, that the fear is present. So yeah, I can hear how they're all tied
Around and around and around. Yeah.
together. Yeah, in this beautiful triangle. Wow, it's not for nothing that we put it in this flower of resilience, and then we made it into the 9 ways to well-being. Yeah, and I love how you.
I think I feel a drawing
coming up. Yeah.
Coming about this triangle. I really love the image. So I'm gonna make something of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe it's time to let that come out and let you take us on your practice.
Cool. Well, we're gonna do something a bit different. I'm not gonna do the triangle, because I want to explore something else. It's a combination of things that I have never done in this combination before. So it's like an experiment. So fear and curiosity are going hand in hand.
To do the experiment, yes.
So I have my notebook, and maybe you want to grab some paper. It doesn't have to be like a big paper. Well, it depends on how much you're going to write, because it's going to be partial writing, because words are creative as well. It's not like I don't use words, but I like to use a combination. So I put my notebook and then turn it. So I have like a landscape paper. And we're going to do something that might remind you of a mind map. You know what a mind map is, right? Okay. But we're going to do it reversed.
Cool.
So we're going to start with taking like your favorite color. Mine is bluish green, turquoise kind of. And you draw a circle in the middle, not too big. So there has to be like one word inside, but there needs to be space for other words outside of it. So
And just to be sure, it has to be, or has to be, you invite us to have it like this or this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good.
So this is your core. So inside is going to be your core value, like your why word or your mission word. But to get there, we're going to start outside of your core because it's easier to start from the outside. You know, it's more visible, it's more. So from the edge of your paper, on your edge, you're going to write or draw, whatever you like. You draw things that you like to do and that you're good at. You know, what brings you joy. And you can pick any color, you can do with different colors or. So you just start writing. And it's, you know, if you can, try not to think too much. So try to keep the filter of the critic. Ask the critic to just watch. Just let it flow from your pen.
I'll try.
So on the outer edge, you write like real concrete things as drawing, walking, verbs would be nice. Or I think that you could, I mean, if you like your dog, you can put your dog there as well. It doesn't have to be all, you know. I really like good food, for instance. So that was what I was thinking of. So I'm just going to put it there as well.
I had sun. Maybe it's also about feeling the sun. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Yeah. Then you are going to, there are things that you wrote down that are connected, that you can combine to something that is a little bit bigger than what you wrote down. So for me, dancing and music and company and friends are linked. So I draw a line between these, and then I find a word that describes the thing that is
Connecting them.
Yeah. And you do that with all the the words that in the outer are in the outer circle. And there are some things that are connected to more. So you get like a web of Is your web complete? Have you connected every word to?
Not yet every word, but I think most of them. Yep, I think I'm done.
Okay. So you have like the outer circle with all the things you like or love. And then there are connections towards concepts are probably what are there. So they're not things anymore, they're more concepts. And maybe there are concepts that are also connected. And as soon as you can connect two concepts, see if you can find a value that is important. And maybe what you wrote down are already values. But see if you can. So the next level is write down values that are important to you.
I put them around the circle or inside?
Yeah, no, around the circle. So they're the closest to the circle. One of my concepts was already value. So, and when you have those values, what is the one word that connects or describes these values?
Mm.
So could you find one word that described your... So what's in your core right now?
And my core is shine.
Shine. Shining would be
Yeah,
a value.
shining. Yeah, I was doubting, but I feel like it was really funny because I have my core value. I know my core values, so of course they kind of came up.
Mm-hmm.
But when you ask me how do I link them, my values together, I kind of instantly came into my, really, you said it, my core, like the, I like to call it my fire, my inner spark. That's where I create from, where I love from, where I, well, do all these things that are my values. So yes, shining is like the verb, how I do it. But shine as a word feels like, yeah, the core. Like I cannot get around it. It just happens, kind of like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is also a way of going from the outer layers, step by step, to the inner layers. And I think this could be, you could also do this around your work, for instance. So if you, and then you can find your core value that is at this moment the most present in your work. So it's an interesting. I was more, kind of more paying attention to you instead of just paying attention to me. So I was kind of distracted, but it was interesting to do.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's also funny how it's not all triangles, but I can see it on my paper. I don't think if you can see it, it's all kinds of lines and heads and words. But if you look closely, there are some triangles in there. Yeah. I like this. And it's also, like you said at the beginning, kind of using all these different parts and make it into holistic is maybe a bit chewed on word for this, but it's integrating it all into one.
Yeah.
Using your senses, using your awareness, what it does to you, putting it into form, using all of those to.
And writing things down. So when you can think of something, and then when you write it down, you see it, it's a whole different experience. And when you see things connected, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's bringing it out of yourself, putting it outside of you, gives it a whole new, gives you a whole new view on the matter, to put it that way.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this. I hope there's been a lot of new connections and perspectives created on the other side of our screens. I'm sure it has been for me. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Everyone who's listening and watching, you can find everything about Jolanda here on her page. And we hope you've enjoyed. this session, and we hope to see you next time. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It was very great talking to you again.
Yes.
And see you next time.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.